And I guess have we figured out lights, since Peter's figuring out lights really good. Probably... Well, already figured out. Probably trying to get this microphone. Yeah, that's good. So maybe...
Hi everyone, it's really nice to see all of you here on this beautiful day to see our presentations instead of sitting out in the park. My name is Kusali Kasturiarachi.
I'm Haley Knafel.
And I'm Sam Melnick.
In this past semester, we've been working with the Brooklyn Greenway initiative in order to help devise a plan to fund the maintenance of the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway.
So to start off, we're going to give you a brief overview of what we'll be presenting and how we'll be presenting it so that you know what's coming your way. So Haley's going to start us off with giving you the problem statement, what we worked on with BGI, Brooklyn Greenway Initiative, and give you an introduction to what a greenway is, the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway, what Brooklyn Greenway Initiative is, what a business improvement district is, and then I will talk to you about how we fit into this, what we did, how we did it, talking about our methodology, our experiences, the results. Sam will talk about the results and the analysis and what that means and how we can use that to go forward.
So first we want to start off by showing you guys a quick video. Unfortunately, this computer could not handle it. So we need a YouTube video link. This is the Kent Avenue bike lane in Williamsburg. And as you can see, there are people using it, enjoying themselves presumably, cyclists going up and down either side of the path, maybe just taking a leisurely ride. But we also have other kinds of people using this bike lane. We have a jogger. So this is a space of energy, of motion, of excitement. But maybe it is also a place of relaxation where someone can stop and yawn. Or maybe stop and take a break from riding your bike. Or maybe to raise your children. This is Brooklyn. And not very far from this spot, in fact only a block away, is the Brooklyn Waterfront. A place that is very rich with the possibility to be enjoyed by the community just like this bike lane in Williamsburg.
So upon meeting with the Brooklyn Greenway Initiative, we were presented with a problem. And that was to find out if a business improvement district would be a viable solution to funding the ongoing maintenance of the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway. Okay, but before we go into more details, I just want to clarify what a greenway is and their place in New York City. So a greenway is a linear path that connects neighborhoods. It's off of the road, and it's surrounded by green space, recreation, parks. Because it's off the road, it's a safe place. It's a place to jog, a place to rollerblade, a place to learn how to ride a bike, things that you just couldn't do on crowded New York City streets. They provide many benefits to the community. It's safe to go from point A to point B, as I said, so it also promotes active transportation. Because it's convenient, quick, and safe to just hop on your bike and go to work rather than getting in your car. There's the obvious environmental benefits of that, but there's also health benefits that come with additional exercise. So in 1993, New York City proposed a 350-mile greenway plan for the city, and now, 18 years later, 100 miles have been constructed. Okay, and the Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway is a portion of this path that runs from Sunset Park to Greenpoint on the western coast of Brooklyn. It's 14 miles long. To get the ball rolling on this construction, which is still yet to begin, the Brooklyn Greenway Initiative was formed by 3 volunteers from the community. They got together in 1998, and in 2004, they became a registered nonprofit. Since then, they have successfully coordinated the design and funding for the first 10.5 miles of the Greenway. but now they're still left with one problem, and that is to secure the funding for the ongoing maintenance required for the Greenway. Okay, they believe that their best bet in funding this is with a BID, or a business improvement district. A business improvement district is a public-private partnership in which local businesses and property owners contribute an assessment fee to bettering their neighborhood. This pooled amount of money can be used for a variety of needs, from increasing sanitation workers to purchasing holiday decorations or funding a Greenway. New York City has 64 successful bids. This is the most out of any city in the entire United States. And amazingly, every single one that has been begun has continued or expanded. They can be dissolved by a vote, but none ever has. They've proven to be very successful here. And the three neighborhoods that we're focusing on, Williamsburg, Greenpoint, and Sunset Park, all have, or I'm sorry, not Sunset Park, the Columbia Waterfront District, I'm sorry. They all have the attributes that make a viable business improvement district a successful bid.
So how do we fit into this picture? So let's go back to the problem. The problem is that there is no way to fund, there is no plan existing to fund the maintenance of the Greenway. So how do we solve this problem? The solution that BGI thinks is best is to develop a business improvement district, as Haley told you. So what do we need to do to establish a bid? So we need the local businesses in the area to agree to pay the needed assessment fee. And how do we make them do that? We give them incentive. We tell them it's for their benefit to fund the Greenway because it's going to attract more customers and give them profit and make them more money. So this is where we come in, and this is what we did was we surveyed shoppers in neighborhoods in the Greenway along the Brooklyn waterfront to see their shopping habits, we found out how much they spend, why they come here, and what changes in these neighborhoods would make them come here more. So you have the survey in front of you right now. We can take a look at it. Before we go over that, I want to emphasize that preparing the survey, we spent a lot of time trying not to make it biased because it's, we wanted to see the real data. We wanted to get why people are really there instead of imposing our influence on them to see, because what we want is people to say that they would come here more often if there was a Greenway and more green space, but we try not to do that, and you'll see that with the multiple choices. It's very diverse set of answers. So let's go over it now. With that in mind, the first question is, are you here shopping? The point of that was so that we only survey people that are spending money in the area. And then the second question is, why are you here? Why are you shopping here in this neighborhood? That was there to see why people are there, why people are in this neighborhood, why are they shopping here instead of another neighborhood. And the third question and the fourth question are related. They're there to see how people got there, to see if they use the path that the Greenway would be, and see if they bike there, if they walk there. And then the next question is there to see why they chose that specific route, to see if they came because they're businesses, or if it's aesthetically pleasing, to see why people choose a certain path over another path. And the next question is just to see how frequently people visit the neighborhood. And then the seventh question, which is actually one of the most important questions in the survey, is there to see how much they spend. It gives a dollar value as to how much people are spending here. And then the eighth question, the number is a little bit off on the surveys, but that's the eighth question, the open-ended question. The open-ended question is there to see what people came up with off the top of their heads as to the changes they would like to see that would make them come here more often and spend more money. And the last question is to see from where these people were coming, to see the range of areas. So we surveyed 100 shoppers in 3 different areas. in Brooklyn, along the waterfront. Greenpoint, Williamsburg, and Columbia Waterfront. You see that Greenpoint, Williamsburg, and Columbia Waterfront is a little bit on top, not the Red Hook. And this is some pictures from our experiences. That's Greenpoint, the big picture, and you see how people are using the streets. You see the biker there. You don't really see a bike lane, but there is a bike lane. It's just faded out. It goes to show that we need money to, maintain it. And then that's the bottom pictures are from Williamsburg, and you see how people are, using the waterfront. People, relaxing, having a good time. And that condo is also from Williamsburg. It's blocking, it's near the waterfront, so it's blocking the scenery and paths of people getting to the waterfront. And it's also bringing a new crowd of people, more affluent people, young professionals. It's changing the character of the neighborhood and the needs of the neighborhood.
So, we collected data from 100 shoppers, and we have the results here. We're only going to show you the total combined results of the multiple choice questions, because some of the other questions, there's just tons and tons of data, and it would be kind of difficult to show it all. But we can show you for question 2, what brings you to this neighborhood? There was an overwhelming response of people that were shopping in the neighborhoods because it was close to home, 68%. And this is a theme that you'll see in the data a lot. That's represented a lot, people being close to home and shopping for that reason. By what mode of transportation do you normally get here? You can see that 55% of people walked, and 39% took public transportation. We have a small number of people that bike, 12%, but it's important to remember that we had a lot of shoppers that were riding past on bicycles, and it wouldn't have been practical to stop them and survey them, so they're not properly represented in the survey, but they were out there. Why did you take the route you did to get here? This kind of also relates to people living close to home, or shopping rather, because it's close to home. It was the fastest and most convenient, 46 and 45% respectively. We had a small number, again, that said they came because it was aesthetically pleasing. And we're not sure if that's because people don't believe the areas to be aesthetically pleasing, or if that's just not something that's on people's minds, if it's not a draw for shoppers. Question 6, how often do you come to this neighborhood? Exactly half of the people came every day, which is kind of interesting. But aside from that, it's fairly well spread out. There's a pretty diverse range of frequency. And how often do you make purchases in this neighborhood? The everyday number stays pretty high up there. 2 to 4 days a week is also fairly high. 2 to 4 days a month and multiple times a day are the same, which is kind of interesting. And how much do you spend? So, not too many high rollers, but we had a handful. And other than that, it's pretty evenly spread. So, we tried to analyze this data to see if we had a convincing proposal to present to local business owners for the creation of a bid. First thing we did was look at shoppers who said they would shop more with green space and open space improvements. We found that only 22% would shop more if there were green space improvements, and 35% would shop more if there are open space improvements. Now this number, this comes from one of the questions where people were asked to say on their own ideas about what would make them shop more often. So this wasn't a multiple choice answer, this is just the people that told us. So these numbers, they could be different, if people were led a certain way, but we tried to, again, to maintain, to eliminate a bias. What we did is we looked at those numbers for the people that would shop more with green space improvements, and we calculated sort of a monthly expenditure of shoppers using their average, using the frequency with which they shop and the normal price range of the purchases they make. We found an interesting connection between the expenditures of, or rather we found a similarity. People that would shop more with green space improvements spend pretty much the same as people that don't. So there's not a significant incentive for business owners to try and bring these people in, unfortunately. But there is an interesting connection between the amount that these people bring in, or these shoppers. They bring in about $9,000. Now we got a figure for what Greenway maintenance would cost, and we found that to be about $10,000. So the amount of the people that would shop more with green space improvements, they spend exactly what it would cost to fund a Greenway. So if somehow you could double that number, you would have the cost covered. We looked at shoppers who come for a pleasant environment. We only had 10% of these people. And also, they spend the same as people that don't come for the pleasant environment. So there's really, again, no significant incentive there. We also looked at shoppers from outside the neighborhood and how they shop based on wanting green space improvements. 29% of shoppers came from outside the respective neighborhoods, but only 3% wanted green space improvements and only 7% wanted open space improvements, or rather would shop more with green space and open space improvements. So we didn't feel that this was a very convincing statistic to present to businesses. So, in conclusion, we believe that a bid would be a successful plan to fund the Greenway. However, we don't think that our survey provided conclusive evidence that forming a bid would be to the advantage of local business owners.
But we think we could have gotten better data if we had the surveys a little bit differently, if we asked the questions a little bit differently, if we were a little bit more direct as to ask them, you know, if there was a Greenway or if there were more parks here, would you come here more often, shop here? Which we didn't do. So another survey with that, I think, would give us clear data that we could present to businesses. And then also we thought instead of the open-ended question, we should have had a ranking system, because the open-ended question required people to think off the top of their heads. You know, they're shopping there, and then all of a sudden we're asking questions. They're not necessarily thinking about green space improvements or anything like that. So if you had a list of things like, do you want more parking space? Do you want wider streets? Do you want wider sidewalks? Or do you want more trees, benches? And then let them rank it. That would have given us a better idea of what people wanted and what people prioritized. And also, we think it would have been better if we had surveys in neighborhoods where greenways are already in existence, so we'd get a feel of how people experience it in those communities. I think another important thing is to educate, raising awareness. A lot of people don't know the difference between a greenway and a bikeway, and what a bid is. And raising awareness is a good way to get support so that people know what it's about and the benefits of it.
Okay, so we hope that we've sparked some interest in the Brooklyn Greenway Initiative as well as the Waterfront Trail. And if you'd like to get involved, we have some simple suggestions. First, check out their website, brooklyngreenway.org. They have a lot of volunteer opportunities, and also you can sign up to be a member and choose a donation of your choice, which a contribution is very helpful. So yeah, you can sign up for volunteers, or you can do the monthly cleanup of the Greenway. And for those of you who don't want to get down and dirty cleaning it up, you can write a letter to your local elected officials. BGI's website has an easy way for you to get started with that. Another great way is to attend a fundraising event or plan one yourself. Email Meg if you're interested in planning one. Check out their website. They have a lot of events scheduled. They range from biking tours of the waterfront, explanations of the history of Brooklyn and the neighborhoods, as well as open houses of BGI's office, and just to get to know each other, because community is vital in the construction of the Brooklyn Greenway.
All right, thank you.
Okay.